G'day there guys, welcome back, what's up? Today I got something a little bit new for you, and this is the Sydney Character Pack review. Now, I know I don't usually do these, and I kinda... the big reason why I don't do them is because people do them better than me out there, such as James Black and just a few others, Kane Knowingly. So I decided, why the fuck not? I'll do this one because I'm one of the only Aussies out there on YouTube who actually do Payday 2 content. I did go around and try and look, and it's very hard to find other Aussies. So I thought, fuck it, I'm gonna do it here today for you guys, a review of the Sydney Character Pack, which, if you're unsure of why because I'm Aussie, I'll do this one. Sydney is an Australian heister, and let's be honest, she's kind of badass. Anyway, without further ado, let's get straight into it. The Sydney Character Pack comes with one Assault/LMG hybrid rifle, one melee weapon with unique animations, however, let's be honest, pretty basic stats, one armor-based perk deck that can be considered grinder, but for armor, kind of interesting, can be quite tanky too. I've used it in many setups and it's allowed me to get back into armor. And of course, last but definitely motherfucking not least, we have got the character herself, Sydney. And I did forget her mask. We don't want to forget that one. So, let's start off with the mask, actually. The one that I forgot, I know. Let's start off with the mask, basically, because I want to get that out of the way, because that's the less useful item in the game. So let's get it out of the way. Overall, it's nice. Represents the character well. There isn't too much else to say. It's one of the very few masks in the game that actually use a utility, that actually has a utility attached to it. The only other mask that I can think of would have to be the gas mask, but that's a DLC item. Other than that, though, it's the only character mask in the game that actually has a utility for it. For those who don't know, I'm referring to the big-ass fucking long-ass nose on it that makes her look like Pinocchio. It says on the website that she uses it to poke out the eyes of disobedient civilians. It's kind of cool. You know, it's kind of psychotic. But other than that, though, it's just like all the other masks. It's customizable, and it does its job as a mask. It hides that person's identity better than some of the others. Glasses. So yeah. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's one of the better, in my opinion, probably one of the better character masks out there. Not including the original 4, talking about the DLC ones and DLC characters and stuff. It's one of the better ones there. Almost definitely.
It's fucking bullshit, Brandon.
What? So, up next, guys, I wanted to talk about the melee weapon that comes with the character, which, for those who don't know, is called the Wing Butterfly Knife, which is actually one of those really cool fold-up knives where the people in the movies and that twirl them in their hands and shit and do sick tricks with them. It quickly became probably one of my favorite melee weapons, just due to the animations that are with it. The stats are fucking terrible. But, like, damage-wise, the stats are terrible. Other than that, the stats are your normal low-concealment melee weapon, basically. So, your trench knife and whatnot. Your Nova's Shank and all that sort of stuff. So, it's very similar to those. It's just its really unique animations when you're holding in the weapon. It's cool. And I just like sitting there and twirling them in between my fingers, just when I'm doing stealth and maybe waiting for the drill or something. It's just something to do in stealth, really, just to watch those animations. It's something nice. And, of course, the animations are fantastically done as well. What I mean by that is, the animation seems to just be endless. It doesn't seem to actually end. You can't tell when the animation stops and restarts again. It's kind of like a really nice GIF. So, you know, that's really nice. I really am happy that Overkill decided to really look at that and do something with that. The stats are kind of crappy, so yeah, not too much there. but the animations really make this one a bring along. So if you're into nice animations in games, which are a big selling point for me, this is definitely a nice melee weapon there.
So do we kill him or not?
Yeah, you gotta kill him.
Alright guys, and on the other end of the spectrum, we've got the bootleg assault rifle, which, like I said before, is basically an assault LMG hybrid, with low accuracy, high recoil, a shit ton of ammo, and medium damage. Oh, and a huge fucking double drum mag with its own slow as fuck reload animation. Wait a moment, that sounds just like an LMG, and nothing like an assault rifle. Oh, that's because the only assault rifle part is the carbine that the drum magazine is actually attached to. So yeah, the rifle is moddable in all the normal ways that an assault rifle can be modded in, besides the lacking in the ability to change the magazine around, which would have been nice to do. However, the only reason that would have been nice is that you can make a low concealed item, but surprisingly this item already has quite a large base concealment, coming in at 20. This is strange, just considering that weapons such as the Gecko come in at 15, and I would say that weapon is smaller and more concealable, mostly down to the lack of the drum mag. But whatever, Overkill, do whatever, I don't care. Other than that, the weapon does have two unique attachments, which are the bootstrap compensator barrel extension, which has the same stats as a competitor's compensator, but kind of looks cooler in my opinion. I kind of wish I could put it on other weapons, so yeah. And the AML barrel, which gives the weapon better accuracy and stability, although it lowers concealment. So overall, it's a very visually pleasing weapon, and it is quite fun to use. I've had a lot of fun trying out different setups and trying to get it to actually fucking shoot straight, because it is like an LMG, like I said, and quite literally, you pull the trigger and just hold it, and you just spray fire everywhere. Recoil is huge. So you really want to try and get a stability and accuracy setup for this weapon, not really a damage setup. I have got my setup for it, and I'm quite happy with the way that that one has come out. So I'm all good there. Alright guys, let's move on from the weapons now. We're going to move on to the, mainly the only reason why people would usually buy most of these character packs. And of course, I'm talking about the perk deck, not the character. The character is a great reason for this pack, but we'll get to that later. The perk deck, it's not too different from previous decks that have been released, especially with DLCs, such as Grinder. The Grinder deck was a health regen deck. I think it was one of the very first health regen decks that we had, where just dealing damage to foes would heal your health, right? That's all it was. However, this deck is focused, the Grinder deck is focused around dodge players. Well, this one is kind of focused around armor players rather than that. You can go with a dodge setup, and I have gone with one, and I do enjoy it. However, I find taking an ICTV and this deck is quite powerful of a setup. Because, of course, the more armor, the more effective the deck is. So, without further ado, let's actually go through what the decks, the perks are in the deck. The first perk is called Blitzkrieg Bob, which completely stops us from regenerating health armor outside of combat. And although this may sound like shit, however, when all the armor has been depleted, you are immune to health damage for 2 seconds. So this gives you enough time to run to cover before even taking any damage. So that's kind of nice. I mean, oh shit, all my armor's gone, I better go get in cover. Now, there is a cooldown on this, I can't remember what it is. I think it's like 15, no, not 15, probably 15 seconds, I can't remember. But there is a cooldown on it, so you can't just get fucking hit, run to cover, let it regen, get out there, and then get hit again, and then run back to cover. Doesn't work like that. There is a cooldown on it, so, yeah. It's kind of cool though, because if you haven't been hit in a while and then all your armor's suddenly gone because you're not hurting anything, you've got time to get to cover. 2 seconds is enough usually to get away from the shit and into cover. Let's go on to the second perk, which is Straight Edge, which converts 50% of your health to 100% armor without any repercussions. So that's kind of cool. There's no drawbacks on that, just you get an extra 100% armor for 50% of your health. Now I know what you're thinking, this sounds kinda crappy because I'm losing all my health and gaining armor, when you go armor, you don't have any dodge, so as soon as you get hit, you're going to take the damage, you're not going to dodge the hit, and I understand where you're coming from that. Because I was like that as well. I was like, well, this kind of sucks. The third perk's similar. It adds an extra 10% to the 100%, making it, of course, 110% armor. And the fourth deck is basically the same again, adding an extra 10% to the 110%, making it 120% armor. So you have 120% armor for 50% of your health, which is, that's a decent trade-off. If you love armor, that is a decent trade-off, sorry. By the end of this, I think if you're using the right perks and whatnot, you get like 400 armor, which is kind of nice. 400 armor is nice, although you won't have as much health. I think you still have 115 health by default, so that would leave you with 500 health points altogether, because basically your armor becomes your health. So you would have over 500 health points altogether if you include the armor in the health. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of decent in my opinion, and that's making use of the correct skills as well, like the I think it's the 50% increase in armor in the Enforcer tree and stuff like that. So make sure you have the right skills. You get 400 armor using the ICTV. It's nice. Let's go with the fifth and last perk here, which is Lust for Life, which grants us the ability to regenerate armor by dealing damage. This grants you a 10 armor instantly, but does have a cooldown of 1.5 seconds, so that's kind of cool. I think that's less time than the grinder deck. I think the grinder deck is like 2 seconds, so then that's 0.5 seconds shorter. So that's kind of cool. Dealing damage with good armor, so you can just stay out there and keep attacking shit, and you gain 10 armor instantly. It doesn't regen, so it just gives you 10 armor straight up. Now, if you were to combine this, I believe, I can't remember the name of the perk deck. I can't remember the name of the skill, sorry. But there's a skill in the Enforcer tree where if you get a headshot, you gain armor back. Now, the basic is 5, and I think the ace is 20, so if you put that with this perk deck, you can pretty much live for quite some time. So, yeah, although the middle perks are kind of shit at first, the last perk definitely makes up for it, in my opinion anyway. And it's actually made, like I said before, it's actually made playing armor an option again for me, and just so you know, it's been ages since I've used an armor setup, and this deck really brought it back, really made it fun for me again, and that on its own is just a huge fucking success. However, if you are a dodge or suit player, I did say this before, I do recommend giving this a shot, because I have used it in a dodge setup, and it does work better than you think, and obviously I'm speaking from experience here, it does do better than you think. It's quite usable in a dodge setup, so give it a go. Give it a go, guys. Come on, 15. Alright guys, it's that time where we have to talk about the big one in the pack. It's the one, the only, Sydney herself. Well, she wasn't what I expected, I'll be completely honest there. I was actually expecting a more pronounced Australian, a more outback kind. I don't really want to say it, but I'm gonna have to. Mostly because a lot of people aren't gonna get what I'm trying to say here. Bogan. And if you still don't get that, hillbilly. Aussie hillbilly. However, what Overkill gave us was not it wasn't, it was great. What they gave us was a pleasant fucking surprise. I'm glad they decided to stay away from stereotypes. I still would have liked the thong melee weapon, of course, and I'm not talking about the fucking the underwear. I'm talking about the footwear, and I would have liked it to come with a cartoonishly loud slapping sound of rubber on flesh. However, I digress. The voice actor for Sydney did an amazing job at portraying this crazy Aussie law-breaking chick. I honestly could not have asked for more. It's just amazing. It's amazing. Let's go through her bio. Sydney's been breaking the law since she was a young girl. This is, by the way, this is actually currently the youngest member of the gang. Just for those who didn't know. Sydney is a person of determination. She has a noble ambition of leaving her mark on this world, which you do pick up from her voice lines, you pick up from what Bane says and whatnot. She really wants to leave her mark on the heisting world, especially long after she's gone, which is something that can be related to a very famous Australian bushranger known as Ned Kelly, who, honestly, he was 1800s time, near the end of the 1800s, I believe. So, yeah, he died, right, over 100 years ago, obviously, but yet today, we as Australians still remember him and hear his stories of robbery, murders, all the time. I do believe that this is where Overkill definitely drew inspiration for the character, Sydney, from this very famous Australian bushranger, Ned Kelly. If you don't know who Ned Kelly is, go on the internet, look it up. Yeah, it's like our Billy the Kid, not even kidding. One big thing I would like to talk about definitely is Sydney's suit, which is not the same as the other female heisters. Hers is rather a suit and tie setup, rolled up with sleeves, which I believe that it not only looks cool, as if she means business, but that it represents her punk nature. Another little thing is her tattoos on her arms, which, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought, which for those who haven't actually noticed, actually have magpies on them. Someone said that they were crows. Well, a magpie, I believe, is a type of crow, but, on which, for those, yeah, for those who don't know, magpies are a very common animal in Australia, especially in springtime. The tats also contain a Jack Daniel's Molotov, which is a quite, I believe it's American drink, but it's very famous down here, especially for me. I'm staring at 3 bottles of the shit right now sitting on my desk. 3 of them are all empty. So yeah, it's quite a famous drink down here as well. You can find the bootleg rifle in her tattoos, a big-ass fucking knife, which I believe to be another reference to Australian culture. So good job there, Overkill. Along with these, we have roses, dice, playing cards, money, her mask, diamonds, a grenade, plenty of bullet shells, and, of course, Overkill had to put it in an Overkill bomb. Of course. So that's cool. Yeah, so very interesting. I do like her tattoos. They're probably my favorite on all the characters. I believe she's one of the only characters too, Jiro being the other one, who actually have noticeable tattoos that we actually know they have, because we haven't seen the other ones without their t-shirts and whatnot on. So yeah, I want to go over her voice lines. I know I kind of did before, talking about the voice actor and whatnot, but I want to go over them again. Of course, they're great, and at points are funny as fuck. Her pager lines, she has one where she's singing, Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up, which was unexpected. I did not expect this. I want to say this character is, it kind of, they've taken a lot of internet memes and whatnot to build on this character. She is young, so it kind of makes sense that she's going to embrace an internet meme, maybe. So that's kind of cool. It definitely brought a smile to my face. I have an American friend. I was answering a pager one day, and he heard that line, and he just cracked up. He found it hilarious. So it's just cool. She also has a Vegemite one. I can't remember what it is. I think she's like, oh, what's up, Control? Gonna make some Vegemite sandwiches later. Do you want any? It was kind of, yeah, cool. I'm glad they put it in there. It was a crowd pleaser. Of course, they had to have a Vegemite line. Fortunately, it was the only Vegemite line that I've heard so far, so it's kind of a little bit of a disappointment. But of course, it was to be expected that there will be a Vegemite line in the game. So yeah. One of her Inspire lines was "Get the fuck up," and that she had more than one, so that's kind of cool. Sorry, I'm trying to think about more things to say. Yeah, well, her lines where she really falls down would be her special killing lines and her severe lines, where it kind of just sounds like she's trying too hard. With all but just a few, and in fact it was only about 2 or 3 in each department, so not enough to really build up a criticism against or really care about. One of these lines is the "stay down little doggy" line, which just seems like she's trying too hard. I'm not talking about the voice actor for Sydney trying really hard. I'm talking about Sydney herself. Like, the voice actor's done such a fantastic job. She's actually made Sydney sound like she's trying really hard to be like the other people. So it's kind of, they're good lines, that's the thing. They just, I kind of cringe a little when I hear them. That's all. Yes, so yeah, I mean, you could argue that I'm just picking at things now, but and maybe that is the point of these lines. So yeah, I don't really know what to say about them. I'm just kind of saying that they don't really sound too right in my ears. I do get why they're there. They are meant to sound like that, I'm guessing. But, you know, they're nothing to worry about. This is nothing to worry about to the rest of her lines. The rest of her lines are fucking fantastic, and I enjoyed every moment of them. So don't even think about it. Well, yeah. I'm out of things to talk about now, guys, so I'm just going to wrap this video up. That's basically it right now. I should give the game a score or something. Well, not the game, the DLC a score or something. However, I have decided to tell you whether, in my opinion, this pack is worth buying or not, instead of giving it an alright score. So, my final opinion: this pack is good. The rifle is fun to play around with. The perk deck is tanky. You know, it got me back in armor. The melee is visually pleasing. That's about it. Sydney's lines are great to listen to, as well as her being an interesting character, which she is. She's a very interesting character, in my opinion. I would say that if you like to own every bit of content for games, try and get this pack as cheap as you can. However, if you like armor builds and want a slightly different playstyle with armor, I'd say grab it. However, I'd still wait for a sale, if that's the only reason you want it. However, if you like the sounds of this character perk deck, and the primary, I'd say get it as soon as you can. Honestly, I would. I'd say get it as soon as you can. Just for the record, though, I did wait for a sale to get mine, and this was mainly just because I was unable to actually play Payday for several months when it got released, in those several months, so I just waited for a sale. And then I got it, and then I still couldn't play it for an extra 4 months, so it didn't really matter to me whether I had it or not. However, if I was playing the game at the time, I have waited for sales on some DLCs before getting them. However, this pack in particular, I wouldn't have. I would have grabbed this pack straight away like that. I would not have waited around. I would have got it the moment it was released. And the reason for me doing that is because it is the Australian pack. I'm Australian. I'm proud to be Australian. This pack is Australian. So that's why I would have got it like that straight away. So, you know, that's my reasoning for it. I did enjoy this pack overall. It wasn't what I was expecting, but I did really enjoy the pack, and it had a lot of great things in it. So, I'm gonna just stop rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, goodbye. And just before I go, I do want to say this is my first time doing this, so please, leave some comments down in the description. Tell me how I went. I'm probably never going to do another one of these again, but I would like to hear some feedback from my very first time at doing one of these videos. And until next time, goodbye.